The spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and it's Saturday, and you know what that means. It's time for toy news, action figure news of the week that interested me and hopefully interests you. And it is, of course, the Thanksgiving week edition, and I did expect this to be a very quiet news week, but this is one of the busiest news weeks we've had in a lot of weeks, maybe months even. So maybe a lot of companies, the toy companies, dumping a lot of news right before the Thanksgiving break. We'll see. Maybe next week will be slower, or maybe there is no shut-off switch anymore as everybody wants a little piece of your money, especially in these times. So there's a lot of announcements, a lot of new figures this week, and we're going to cover it all right here as we usually do every single Saturday. Early for you Patreon members on Friday. Of course, weekly purchases Sunday. You can get weekly purchases and the toy news on Friday if you are a Patreon member. And I guess should segue pretty well into right here is the month of November Patreon giveaway. It is the latest Mattel Creations 4-pack of Mattel retro figures. We're going to give this away on the old Patreon this month, so look out for that. It does support the channel, being a member of the Patreon, and you're going to be a part of giveaways and bonus videos. I am filming a new Q&A video every single month. I do a Q&A video where we talk about whatever. You guys ask me any question you want. We talk about all kinds of things, so we will have a Q&A video up this weekend, this Thanksgiving weekend here. And speaking of Thanksgiving, it is Thanksgiving week, so hopefully everybody had some time. Those that celebrate Thanksgiving, I guess, got to enjoy their Thanksgiving meal. Always busy this time of year. This is the busiest, 2-week stretch of my year. Had some big meetings going on anyways on top of that, so this has been a crazy, crazy couple of weeks, and I'm ready for some time off. I still have like 2 weeks of vacation. I don't know if I'll even get it in this year. I usually don't. I usually give vacation away, which is something you shouldn't do. You shouldn't give your vacation away. But it's the cross I bear. The cross I bear. But we'll see. I'm going to try to get some time off later on in December. We'll see what happens. But there's the Patreon. That's the Q&A. Hopefully everybody had a good Thanksgiving. And now we got to talk about what we really are interested in is, of course, the Black Friday, Thanksgiving, Christmas time frame. Deals, deals, deals. You got to get a deal. Well, now is where you show up and you shine because deals are everywhere. They're coming at you in every single direction. Amazing things. For you long gamers, you guys that were patient all year long, I don't know how many thousands of dollars you could possibly save during this time frame. As every company, I don't care what we're talking about, they got deals going on right now, and you've probably been bombarded with them on social media and email, but we're going to highlight a couple real quick. Of course, Ringside Collectibles. Use discount code Kyle, save yourself even 10% more. But man, oh man, do they got some deals over there. And of course, the Black Friday deals, the pre-Black Friday and then into the Cyber Monday. So many deals, and it gets hotter and hotter as we go. But as you guys know, Ringside runs out of stuff this time of year. So it's one of those things, okay, it's a hot deal now. Can I wait for Cyber Monday Part 2 or 3 or 4? Will it still be there? Will it get hotter? It is truly a gambler's paradise. It's a roll of the dice. So if you're seeing something, it's a good deal. You better jump on it, or you might miss out. But Ringside got a ton of stuff, and you can save 10% even more with discount code Kyle. You guys know this is time of year where I swoop in, and I especially buy a lot of stands. Of course, they are $2.99 a 10-pack right now. You see in all my reviews, my unboxings, we test the Ringside stands. Those are my favorite stands because they are cheap. I want to spend my money on my action figures, not my stands. So $2.99 with 10% off. That's where I'm going. I'm stacking up. I'm buying a bunch for the year. That's what I always do this time of year. But on top of that, Entertainment Earth, another good supporter of the channel here. Of course, discount code Kyle, once again, does save you 10% on all in-stock items, and everything over $39 does ship free. Crazy deals. They're trying to move the Lando Calrissian $639 on Lando. Still not working. Still not working. But a lot of crazy stuff. I got something like 10 McFarland figures for $70 yesterday. Unbelievably cheap. Long gamers, once again, unite. A lot of good deals over there at Entertainment Earth. And then, of course, Pro Wrestling Tees, big event this weekend. They have a lot of events throughout the year. But if you're looking for a t-shirt, you want to get one of my t-shirts, hey, go for it. You can save, I think, 20% off is their big sale. Pick up the old Kyle Peterson t-shirt, support the channel, or go get some Road Warriors shirts, some Terry Funk shirts, some Demolition shirts, all the usual suspects. So a lot of deals to be had this time of year. Hopefully you guys are budgeting for it all. A lot of excitement. So a lot to come, but a lot of deals going out outside of these. But Ringside, Entertainment Earth, Pro Wrestling Tees, wanted to shout those guys out real good. But now let's dive into the toy news, the action figure news of the week, and let's start it off with wrestling. And let's start it off hot as the day before Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving, which would have been Wednesday. Ah, yes, Wednesday. What a day. Middle of the week, some might say. Logan Paul was announced as the latest Ultimate Edition. Came out of left field a little bit. Now, we did see about 2 months ago that we saw Logan Paul at Mattel, so we knew the inevitable was coming. I would have never guessed they would have went straight off with an Ultimate with him. I figured they probably would have done like the Pat McAfee, give him a basic, or possibly an Elite, like a Rob Gronkowski, Johnny Knoxville. Now, Logan Paul, I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve a figure. He deserves a figure. He's been around. He's been in 3 big pay-per-view matches. Obviously, he's a popular guy. I'm still not even sure what he's popular for. Maybe that's just my age bracket. I don't know. I know him as a wrestler. That's all I know him from. But Logan Paul going straight to the Ultimate. Now, that upset a lot of people. There's a lot of controversy on this one. And Eric Bischoff told us controversy creates cash, and there is something to that. Now, this is a Mattel Creations exclusive. Goes up on the 25th. It has a 1-week pre-order window, so get your order in for a week, and then after that, forever hold your peace. Very similar to the Cody Rhodes that was announced, what was that, San Diego Comic-Con? I believe that was San Diego Comic-Con, that Nightmare Cody Rhodes Ultimate went up. Now, there's some differences there, and there's some similarities between these two. Now, my gut, the first thing I said is, well, I think this is an interesting way to go with Logan Paul. It's not going to stores, it's going to Mattel Creations. And to me, I don't think Logan Paul would sell very well at an Ultimate Edition price point at your Target stores. I just don't see that moving the needle. If Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, everybody else, Jeff Hardy, Roman Reigns, Ultimate Warrior Bret Hart back in the day, if those all went to clearance, what do you think Logan Paul is going to do? Well, guess what? He's going to clearance as well. So I think it's Mattel saying, hey, we're getting this out. It goes straight to Mattel Creations. That's the way it's going to go. We're not going to worry about some peg warming at the store level. It is what it is. For those that want it, they can pick it up in that week window. If they don't want it, they can pass. And I think that's what they're doing. But at the same time, that argument, every Ultimate Edition goes to clearance eventually. They all do. Ric Flair, Bray Wyatt, you name it, every single one. If you play that patented long game, you're going to get those at a much cheaper price. So I don't know the difference here. I don't know if they just didn't have a spot for Logan Paul in their lineup, but for whatever reason, it goes over to Mattel Creations. Now, a lot of people are really mad saying, wait a minute, we haven't got a Mankind, we haven't got an Eddie Guerrero, a Rey Mysterio, we need more Ultimate Warrior Ultimate Editions. I'm sure somebody said that, might have been me, but a lot of people are saying, hey, whoever I wanted, how did Logan Paul jump it? And we all got to take that business step back a little bit. Obviously, Logan Paul is a hot, new, fresh thing, getting a lot of buzz, YouTube, you name it. So I understand what they're doing. It is a business after all, but I'm with you. I'd take a Rey Mysterio. I'd take an Eddie Guerrero. I'd take an Ultimate Warrior over Logan Paul every single day. But it is what it is. A lot of us, a lot of you guys I know are like me. We're ultimate completionists, forced to really buy this one. And nobody's forcing you, but you know what I mean. You got to pick this up to complete the collection. I'm going to pick up 2 of these Logan Pauls. I can't believe this is the world I live in right now. But I'll be picking 2 of these up. And I got to say, though, as much as we're talking about this figure looks awesome. This is an awesome looking figure. I'm here for it. It looks really good. It's just not what I wanted. I really would have liked to seen him in the Elite line instead of the Ultimate line. I'm sure most people would probably agree with that sentiment, but I'm sure somebody out there, maybe nobody watching this video, but there's some big Logan Paul fans, and there's people that were brought into wrestling from Logan Paul that didn't watch wrestling before, and maybe they became fans. So there's a lot of controversy around that, and like we said at the top, controversy does create cash. So Logan Paul, if you want it, pick it up now or forever hold your peace. So there you go. A little bit more wrestling news now. December 1st, apparently there's some wrestling pre-orders going up. I'm not exactly sure what is going up, but pre-orders are going up. I would expect ringside on December 1st. My gut tells me Elite Series 100 will be going up for pre-order. We'll see if that actually happens or not, but stay tuned. I think December 1st, you'll see some new pre-orders. We'll see. We'll see. So I want to cover that. Mega Powers Ringside Fest at Hogan's Beach Shop this coming Monday. This was just kind of flying under the radar, and maybe that's because it was announced during Thanksgiving week, but it sounds like Ringside Collectibles, the Mattel crew, Bill, Steve, I don't know if Robert's going, but Robert, you should be there. Those guys are all going to Hogan's Beach Shop. Oh, that'd be quite the place. I need to go there one of these days. But the Hulkster's going to be there. They're going to present him with the Mega Powers pack. I'm sure the Hulkster's going to talk a little bit about his time with Randy Savage. Maybe he'll talk about the handshake. I can't wait to see what the Hulkster says about the sleeping Hulk Hogan eyes. That's going to be a funny one. But they're going to present the Hulkster a Mega Powers pack. But they've also said they're going to have some reveals and talk about some stuff. Maybe we'll get the next Ringside Collectibles exclusive revealed at this event. But these are always a really cool thing. And I guess this is taking the place of Ringside Fest in 2022. That's my guts tells me. So I can't wait to see the reveals on this. We will do a video recapping as long as they have some real things. If they just announce one figure, Probably won't do a video on it, but if we'll try to cover the whole event. Of course, I think it's 4 to 7 o'clock on Monday, so I guess stay tuned for that. Monday, Tuesday, I'll have a video recapping that event. So always exciting to get some figure reveals. Can't wait to see what's coming with that one here. Now we turn our attention to some other wrestling figure news this week. A lot of news, like I said, across all lines, especially wrestling. Power Town came back this week, and they said, nuh-uh, we said there was a pre-order window for Series 1. Well, we lied. We're back with a vengeance. We're doing 12 days of Power Town, which is cool, but it does make me wonder, why did they open the pre-orders back up? Did they not get what they were hoping to get in the first set? Or are they just saying, hey, we're just going to do it again? It is Black Friday after all. People are doling out the money right now. Maybe it's a chance to get some extra sales. I'm hoping that's the case, but it makes you wonder a little bit. And then they did show prototypes. So the 12 days are starting to show some stuff. As of filming right now, they've shown us Stan Hansen, Vern Gagne, very cool looking prototypes. Would have really loved to seen them compared against some Jazzwares figures, some Mattel figures, just for a little of that scaling, a little bit of that peace of mind, because, you know, it goes back to that FTC referee. Great in theory. We're unboxing it. We did it on the channel. Check out the review. Oh, this is awesome. This is what we need. But when the rubber hit the road at the end of the review and we had to compare it to everybody else, that's where things kind of went by the wayside. I hope that doesn't happen with Power Town. At worst, I guess it's its own universe, it's its own shelf, but it would be really cool to be able to mix these guys in with our Mattels and our Jazzwares figures. I hope that is the case. But they're showing a few different things, and Series 1 still back up for pre-order. My gut was telling me, hey, I believe them. They're coming Q1 2023. Now I kind of wonder if they're at the prototype stage, if these are really coming Q1, and I think they originally said the end of this year, 2022, early 2023. I'm looking more towards March or April at this point. If this is as best as they have so far, these prototypes, they got a long ways to go and a short time to get there, like my boy Jerry Reed. Is what they got going on. So very cool. Can't wait to find out more. Can't wait for Series 2 pre-orders. Going to be interesting. These Remco ones, they're supposed to have some more info on those. But the Power Town brand is all out there. A lot to be seen and a lot to come in 2023 with those. But if you want to get the Series 1, now's your chance. The pre-orders are back open. Jump in while you can. So there you go. We did see at AEW Full Gear last weekend. I think that was the first AEW pay-per-view I didn't watch. Yeah, you heard it here. I was too busy. I was tied up. Work was killing me. I was studying presentations. I was going through, trying to go for memory. It's tough. You know, I could talk on these videos for a half hour without a break, but when you got to talk about an hour and a half without a break by yourself in front of a huge room, you gotta put some stuff to memory. You can't really be looking off notes or anything. So I was really tied up with that pretty hard last week. But they did, full circle, going full gear, they did have the MJF exclusive, of course, the shop exclusive MJF. Very cool, as we see every pay-per-view exclusive figure. I wish there was a little bit more bells and whistles to these, but it is a little paint by numbers. I'll getting the most out of your molds, things like that. It's almost, hey, let's give it a fancy package, a fancy sticker, and maybe throw a shirt in. Voila, new figure. That's what they're doing there. But haven't announced when that's going up for pre-order. A lot of people thought it would have been Wednesday of Thanksgiving week. I could see how they didn't do that because of, you know, people traveling, everything else. My gut tells me next week this will go up on Shop AEW. So if you're into this MJF figure, that would be the time to get it. It'll be interesting. They keep nudging the price point up on these guys. I hope it doesn't go up over 100 or even close to 100. We'll see what happens there. But the MJF, if you're an MJF completionist, a Chase completionist, you got to sign up for these next week. So we do have that. A few other news here. The Asylum Wrestling store. We've talked about these the last few weeks. They do have the Superstars, kind of Remco, WWE Superstars, He-Man type figures coming out. Of course, we got the LOD all day. All day, sign me up. I'm getting the LOD. And then we got Earl Hebner, 2 versions of Earl Hebner. And then we had Scott Norton, of course, Vicious. So when we saw Vicious on the back, we all kind of put 2 and 2 together, said you can't have Vicious without Delicious. And this week they did officially announce the Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Oh, Buff Daddy himself, Buff Bagwell. We are getting him in this line. Now these all do go up for pre-order November 25th. It'll be interesting to see. Will it be a year till we get these? What the timeline is going to be. But I'm excited about these. Just get to see how many things can people afford. There's so many different toy lines, especially in the wrestling wheel space. How many people will dive into these? I'm here for it, but will the majority? I'd be interested to hear from you guys in the comments. You picking up these guys? Let me know down there. But Vicious, Delicious, and the Road Warriors. You're going to have Tag Team Mania. Not really in the same universe, but it works. 2 tag teams. Then Earl Hebner calling it down the middle for both of them. You got that. So the Asylum store, November 25th, those go up for pre-order. Pre-order should be up for a little bit. Dive in, get them, or forever hold your peace, as one might say. Or I just did right now. Last bit of wrestling news that I'm looking at here is, of course, Zombie Sailor toys. We know all about Zombie Sailor, the retros. Retro bubble diving down a little bit. We're seeing it. We've talked about it. But Zombie Sailor fighting the good fight, and a lot of stuff that a lot of people have been anticipating. And I got to be honest, a lot of people grumbling, a lot of anger towards these. As Jeff Jarrett, we pre-ordered like 16 months ago. Was it 16 months ago? Apparently, and I got the little handy-dandy iPad right here. Jeff Jarrett is arriving into our warehouse December 14th, and we'll start shipping to customers immediately. So there's a possible chance of that getting under the Christmas tree on Christmas Day. It's going to be tight. I guess if you're on the East Coast where Zombie Sailor is, you probably got a better chance than the rest of the world or maybe the West Coast. But he's finally coming out, the Jeff Jarrett. It seems like it's been forever. It's almost been really 2 years, really close. Danhausen, another one. A lot of people, where's the Danhausen? You've had our money for well over a year now. Well, he's leaving the overseas factory on December 3rd. Will arrive in the warehouse 4 to 6 weeks after that. So you're looking at February probably for Danhausen, in all honesty. So February, Danhausen, that's a tough wait. That's pretty close to 2 years, if not at 2 years. And then the New York Comic-Con exclusive Sabu, which originally they said that's going to ship right there with New York Comic-Con. Well, that was like 6 weeks ago. This one is also, must be on the same ship with Danhausen, coming December 3rd, arrive in 4 to 6 weeks after that. So the New York Comic-Con exclusive coming like 4 months after New York Comic-Con. So that timing did not work out. It is what it is. But if you're interested in the Sabu, or if you have any of these guys on pre-order, they should be coming, we'll call it Q1. We'll call it Q1. That's a big window. But there's a little update on Zombie Sailor toys. Now we turn our attention to a few other things here this week. There's a lot of toy news like I talked about. But let's do a little GI Joe. GI Joe Classified Series. If you missed that Serpentor unboxing here on the channel, man, pause this video, go find another device, and watch that Serpentor one, because that is an amazing figure. There's no doubt in my mind that is a top 10 GI Joe figure for sure. Could be at the top of the list. I'll have to put the pen to the paper. Good thing Flint wasn't released this year. Oh, he'd be at the top. But Serpentor, man, talk about a next level figure. I have to imagine they will release that on a single card without the chariot, maybe with some differences, some color tone differences, because Serpentor is a heavy duty figure that everybody needs in their collection. A lot of people missed out on this. They're going to have to find a way to get Serpentor back in business, so I guess stay tuned for that. But they did announce the fan vote for the Hiss tank. Of course, if you guys remember the Tactician, you could vote on the color, and it seems like it went the way I originally talked about way back when. There was a lot of cool colors going on, a lot of cool color combinations, but it came down to the red and black one. People wanted the uniformity between the other figures and the Hiss tank, and I totally understand that. I really did like the looks of that purple one, but there was no doubt in my mind the red and black attack would win, and that's exactly what happened there. But speaking of G.I. Joe, how about we transition over to Super 7? Another one. Delay. I was hoping to have G.I. Joe Super 7 Series 1 in my hands by now. I am so excited, so jazzed up for that toy line, because even as a little kid, I loved my G.I. Joes. The 3 3/4, I was all about it, but I said, man, I wish they really looked just like the cartoons. I want them to look just like the cartoons. That's what Super 7 is giving us. Now, we know there could be some quality control problems. We've had that in the past, especially on Series 1 lines. There's some people, a little wondering about here, but I am being positive, and we should all be positive. Hope for the best, and that's what I'm hoping for here. But there was a big designer con over the weekend, and Super 7, Mondo, a lot of the other toy lines were there this weekend, or prior weekend, showing off their wares, showing off some sneak peeks of what's coming in the future, and they showed G.I. Joe Series 2. We saw Flint. Oh, Flint, cannot wait. We saw Lady J, we saw Baroness and Destro. Basically, the couples wave. You got Destro and Baroness, Flint and Lady J. My money's on Flint and Lady J all day long. They'll get the job done. But absolutely excited for those. They look amazing. They look amazing. I just hope they live up to my hype that I'm giving them. But I'm staying positive. I'm all in on this line. But where is Series 1? I believe they're supposed to be here by now. I'm hoping here in the next month or two. But that's just the way Super 7 goes. They always say a year. It's usually 14 to 16. I would tell everybody, hey, it's a year and a half, and then surprise them at a 12 months if that could happen. But it doesn't seem that's going to be the case. But we did see those guys. Hopefully Series 1 coming very soon. Then they talked Thundercats, and they did show that whole entire wave, and it looked like pretty far along prototype samples there of the latest Thundercats wave. Of course, it is based on the toys from the 80s. Very cool idea. Get some repaint, some reuse with some new bells and whistles, and especially if you collected that toy line back in the day, you might have nostalgia for these. Maybe you didn't want the other ones they have, but you might want just this set. I can see that happening with some people. But I got to think that'll be coming a little sooner. It looks to be really on point, and plans seem to be going along. There doesn't seem like there's any kind of delays in that because they look very far along. So I'm happy for that one. We also saw the latest wave that went up for pre-order with Snarf and Mongol and some of those. We saw kind of grayed out prototypes of those, so those are coming along as well. Very cool looking wave. Snarf, I'm not so sure still about that price point, but we'll see when we get those in hand. But I thought those looked really good. Then we did see the Jaga Super 7 exclusive and the Tigra Big Bad Toy Store exclusive. So very cool translucent figures. That Jaga looks absolutely stunning. I love those. I got both those on pre-order. I'm here for Jaga. I'm here for Tigra. I'm picking those up for sure. And then we also saw, I guess keeping it Thundercats related, got an email on Wednesday night. It was the Thunder Tank update. It sounds like first of the year sometime. Once again, Q1. Oh, Q1. We're getting the Thunder Tank finally. It seems like it's been about 3 years since we pre-ordered the Thunder Tank, but it's probably been a year and a half, 2 years tops maybe. But they showed kind of a scale. They showed a guy holding the box, holding the Thunder Tank. Unbelievable how big this is. This thing, it looks like a baby could ride in it. It almost looks like one of those motorized Jeeps or something a little kid could ride in. This is massive. There is not a lot of people that have room for this. I think I got room. I got some plans. I'm planning out my collections and my rooms and stuff, and I've got about a 2-year plan going on. I think I got a spot for this. I don't know if I got a spot for it right now, but I'm going to have to figure something out by Q1 2023 because this thing is absolutely massive. And it almost makes me walk back, and I don't really champion. I want big vehicles, big vehicles. I want all these vehicles for the GI Joe line. I would love to have vehicles for the GI Joe line, but think of a Sky Striker. You're going to have the wings on that thing. It is going to be massive. So this Thunder Tank, you think you don't have room for that? How are you going to have room for all these big, huge GI Joe vehicles? It just doesn't translate like we want it to. We all translate in our head, but when the rubber hits the road and you see, where am I going to put this? Where's the space? That's where things get a little bit fuzzy. But this Thunder Tank, man, stay tuned for that review on the channel. That's going to be something else. That's going to be something special. So I'm excited for that one. We also saw from Super7 this week some interesting stuff. Conan the Barbarian. The line is not dead after all. We did do an old school throwback unboxing with some figures I've had for a while. Thorgrim and Rexor, some of the baddies of Thulsa Doom's team. We unboxed those on the channel, so check out that review. But we got the latest Conan, and it's like King Conan from the end credits of the movie. Very cool. This thing looks next level. Now, this is kind of the glamour shots, all that kind of stuff to work up the model. Will the actual figure look this good? I don't know. This Arnold head with the beard looks absolutely stunning, absolutely amazing. I hope it lives up to that. I hope this is exactly what we get from Conan. It sounds like this thing isn't even shipping until January 2024, so way down the line there. A lot could happen in between there. But Conan is $55, but wait, there's more. The Throne is sold separately at $45. Now, we talked about Snarf not feeling like a deal. This doesn't feel like some gigantic throne that, Cobra Commander or Serpentor would have, or Lord Zed. There looks to be something there, so I don't know. I would have rather seen this as like a pack-in together and use it as one of those new price points. They do $65, $75 on some of these deluxe ultimates. Do that, but charging us basically $100 for both just seems a little bit off, but I think what that tells you is still some inflation going on, still some manufacturer cost increases. You're a year plus a couple of months out from this coming out. I think they're putting that into fruition and putting that into the cost of this one. So that's probably some of that. But it does look awesome. I hope it lives up to the hype. I hope it looks just like that when it is released. So there's that. And then the final thing from Super7 this week, an interesting one, not for me, but some of you guys may like this. You guys know I like my heavy metal, and I like my old school country western. I like my outlaw country for sure. But Notorious B.I.G. It's bringing me back to high school. Everybody loved Notorious B.I.G. when I was in high school. Like, once again, not so much me, but we are getting an Ultimate B.I.G., and I got to think that's going to lend itself to getting ODB, and some of these other wrappers that they're making figures for already, we're going to get those in ultimate scale. So you guys that love wrap, you're probably all in on this. I still want to see some more heavy metal. Get me Rob Halford. Where's Rob Halford Ultimate? You're making retro figures of him. You're making the reaction ones. It's time for that. We got King Diamond. We got Lemmys. We got Ghost. We need to keep going. We need to keep on the heavy metal Ultimate train. But Notorious BIG, I think, sends us in that direction. It might not be for me, but it's more music-related figures, which hopefully take off, and we get more of those in the future. So if you're into the BIG, he is up for pre-order right now over at Super7, Entertainment Earth, all the usual suspect places. Now, talking a little bit more designer con, of course, Mondo Collectibles was there. Mondo, all kinds of He-Man stuff, and I don't know what it is. I got to figure out in my mind what I'm doing here, because you guys know I pre-ordered the Mondo Battle Cat, pre-ordered the Deluxe He-Man. I've got Hordak, I've got She-Ra, I've got Skeletor in the collection. Do I need to go back and get Man-at-Arms, Faker, Merman, some of those guys? I don't know. It's an expensive line to collect. But this week at the Designer Con, they had Anti-Eternia He-Man. I did pre-order it. I pulled the trigger. I picked him up. Of course, we showed him last week here on the channel when they announced that. But the pre-order is up. I don't know if it's sold out. I would assume it's sold out by now. But that was up for pre-order this week. A perfect Designer Con exclusive. It's not He-Man. It's not Skeletor. It's not some of the big heavy hitters. It's kind of one of those niche characters, and that's what Anti-Eternia He-Man is. But they did show some things that are coming, and we knew we got Battle Cat and He-Man, so we knew this was inevitable. We are getting Panther in spring of 2023. My gut tells me he's going up for pre-order spring 2023 and probably delivering at the end of 2023. That's what I'm guessing that means. But it sounds like come spring, Panther is going to be up for pre-order. Gotta think he's going to be $400, just like Battle Cat, but man, he looks cool. And then there was somebody that said that they did say, hey, another Skeletor is coming. We know you got He-Man, Battle Cat. You can't have Panther without Skeletor. So those that missed out Skeletor back in the day, you're going to get another chance at Skeletor. Makes a lot of sense. You got to have him out because, hey, why am I going to get Trapjaw and some of these other guys if I have no chance of getting Skeletor at a reasonable price? So this makes sense. It's a good business decision. So I have to get Panther. I'm going to have to get Skeletor for sure. But then they also showed February 2023, Trapjaw, another favorite. Oh my gosh, then they're going to throw Stratos in, I'm sure, one of these days. Maybe I'm all in on this line. My problem is, where do I display these guys? They take up so much real estate. I got to figure something out. And I got tons of real estate for, the 6-7 inch figures. I got tons more to go. You're going to see in an action figure tour, maybe sooner than you think, of my entire house. And I got room for all those. I got room to grow. I got room to expand. I just don't know about these deluxe figures. It's going to be difficult, but very cool stuff. I love what they're doing. I just got to figure it out. I got to figure it out and put the old pen to the paper. But if you're into Mondo, a lot of good stuff coming right now, all the way into 2023 and probably beyond. A little bit more news this week on some other things. A little McFarland Toys. We dabble in those from time to time. They did show off a little pretty promotional pictures of Superboy. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Some of you guys probably know your DC better than I do. I believe this is the Death of Superman Superboy. Now, that's a line I really want. Give me the Death of Superman line with all those different crazy Supermans and Steel and, the Death of Superman, that whole thing. Give me that, and then give me a brand new Doomsday Build-A-Figure, a big monster Doomsday figure. That was my prime Superman. About a year before the Death of Superman, I started reading Superman pretty heavy. Up to the Death of Superman, up to when he returned, and that's pretty much when I called it quits in my Superman collecting. So that hits my wheelhouse. That's something I really do want. And I believe McFarland Toys showed off some of those figures way back when. Maybe it was San Diego Comic-Con. So I'm excited, and it looks like Superboy might be the first one of this, so I'm all in on that one. Talking a little bit more heavy metal, and one thing we talk about every once in a while, we talked a little bit Notorious BIG, but how about Knucklebones? We talk about them, we've unboxed a few of their statues. If I had the real estate, I would be all in on a lot of these statues, but they are fairly pricey. But once again, hey, check it out, knucklebones.com. They got some big sales going on this time of year, so you can get some deals at least. But they did announce Chuck Schuldiner and Scream Bloody Gore statue, of course, the band Death. Some extreme death metal, of course, is them. Good friend of the channel, Richard Christie, big fan of that. Of course, he was the drummer for Death, as we all know. But Chuck, very influential. Wanted to shout that out for some of you metalheads out there. You might want to pick this one up. I'm not the biggest death guy in the world. I dabble, we'll say. I like the Christie era stuff. Scream Bloody Gore is probably my favorite death album, and a very iconic album cover. I remember, gosh, how many years ago? I don't know. I was at a vinyl record store. I believe it was Iowa City, Iowa, Hawkeye Country. I try not to spend too much time there. But they did have the original pressing CD there, which was at the time like a $75 CD for $2.99. I remember picking that up not too long ago. But I had the whole catalog, have the whole catalog. Not for everybody. Not for everybody, just like these statues. Chuck is an easy pass for me, but the Scream Bloody Gore would look really cool in my office at work. But it might be too much of a conversation starter. It might be too much for some people to see. But if you're into Knucklebones, now's the time to pick up some of these guys. And all the classics are there. They got Metallica, Kiss, Queen, AC/DC, Lemmy, Ghost, you name it. Tons of different figures. Or I should say statues, because that's what they are, statues. How about a little Marvel Legends this week? Two Marvel. We got Marvel Mondo and Marvel Legends of some announcements. Mondo came through at that same designer con, and they showed their next wave of X-Men animated series. Very similar in scale to the big He-Man figures, but we got Gambit, Jubilee, Magneto. Those are coming here very soon, so if you're all into that one, that's another line I would love to collect, because I love the X-Men animated series. I'm just not going down that road. Just not going to do it. Of course, the Wolverine came out last year, but if you're into those, get your wallets ready. Get them ready, because they're going to be pricey just like the He-Man stuff. But then Marvel Legends, of course, the 20th of the month, they always announce a new figure. They announce something in Marvel Legends. This time they announced Gambit in the classic blue and yellow suits. Now, we do know in 2023, we're going to be able to build that team in the blue and yellow suits. We know Banshee's coming. We know Wolverine's coming. We know Storm. There's rumors Forge is coming in that. There's rumors of a box set with, I think, Forge, Psylocke, and maybe Banshee was going to be in that in one of those 3-packs, almost like the old GameStop 3-packs. But we do know they're going to build that team out. Well, they announced Gambit this week. To me, I remember Gambit in this outfit, but boy, this is far from iconic for Gambit. Gambit always looks strange to me without his trench coat. Without the trench coat, he loses half of his powers. I think that's got to be the answer. But very cool. I love completing teams. I don't care if we're talking wrestling, Star Wars, Marvel Legends, whatever it is. It's so cool to have the whole team and the uniformity together, and that's what they're going to give us in 2023. So I'm very excited about that coming our way. Another thing this week, and really the last thing, I'm looking at my notes here, I don't think I missed anything, but we did see that Santa, Naughty or Nice, the Big Bad Toy Store exclusives, if you remember, about this time last year, they went up for pre-order. They're basically Santa figures, Santa accessories, elves, things like that, different variations of Santa. Big Bad Toy Store exclusive, had like a Kickstarter type thing going on there. A lot of these got funded. Well, they also showed these this week. Those should be coming hopefully for Christmas. Man, it's going to be a huge miss if those come like the second week of January or something. But we did see some nice glamour shots of these. It's really cool they're putting these in Marvel Legends style window box packaging. I mean, it almost looks like a Marvel Legends figure. I remember I did pick up like the GI Joe Santa to put with my Joes. I picked up the regular Santa, and I think I picked up the accessory pack. But a lot of people got zombie Santa. They got some elves, things like that. But really, really cool, and we're seeing more and more of that kind of stuff with Big Bad Toy Stores of the world and their own toy lines. Not for everybody, but very cool, especially this time of year when you're getting the holiday decorations out. I always get my Gremlins decorations, my Misfits, Christmas decorations, and I put those in the house. And it's always a fun game because I surprise my wife, and I always say, okay, how long? I tell the kids, how long? Let's place our bets. How long until Mom recognizes that we put these out and says something? So we always do that little game. It's always fun this time of year. We did that, and I'll probably do that with those Santa figures next year, so stay tuned for that. We'll, of course, unbox those on the channel. That would be a perfect Christmas Day unboxing here on the channel. Hopefully we get those before Christmas of 2022. Hopefully it's not 2023. That would be real trouble. But there's the news of the week. A busy, busy week in the action figure department. Tons and tons of news, which really honestly shocked me this week going into Thanksgiving. I figured most people would have the week off, but I think so many people are looking for every dollar and every coin out of your pocket. There's no days off. That's what's exactly going on in the toy industry, and really, honestly, all industries. Fig hunting this week was really interesting as things are starting to get a little busier in stores. I talked about it at the top of my figure hunt video. I'm a guy that's 4 decades. I'm kind of like the Dustin Rhodes of the grocery industry, store industry, because he's in, I think, his 4th decade, or maybe he's in his 5th decade. I can't remember. But I did start very young in a grocery store at 14 years old, worked groceries. I've never been not employed since I was 14, if you can believe that. And I worked in the grocery stores for many years on the grocery store side of things, transitioning over to CPG companies, we'll call it in that, working with all the other clientele, customers, Targets, Walmarts, you name it. I've done it all. I've worked with them all. So it's always interesting this time of year. It's always an exciting time of year. When I worked in a grocery store as a kid, I always enjoyed the hustle and bustle of the holidays. A lot of times people are in a lot better mood. Maybe it's just the Midwest where I'm from. I don't know. But people were in a better mood. They were happier. Things were flying off the shelf at a fast rate. You're making a ton of money. You're thinking, oh, my year-end bonus, it's coming. We're getting all the sales right now. It's going to really help build to that. So it's a really good time of the year. The only negative is when I'm fig hunting out there, of course I'm filming, I don't want a bunch of people in my way, and you got some of that going on. But 'tis the season, so it's going to be an interesting December of figure hunting out there. It'll be interesting to see what hits the stores, what kind of deals are out there, what Santa's up to. You never know. You might have a Sentinel again this year. You just never know what Santa might be doing. But very, very fun time of the year at the end of the day, especially when you got little kids that are excited about Christmas. My kids aren't as excited as I was about Christmas as a little kid, that's for sure. I was just bouncing off the walls. My dad can tell you that. I think we even did a video last year about it. But there it is. That's the week in the news. But we got to finish it off, of course, album of the week. And it is Thanksgiving weekend. And a Thanksgiving tradition, ever since I was a young teenager, is probably the most underrated band of all time. And what band is that? It is The Band, of course, The Band. You got Garth Hudson, Robbie Robertson, Levon Helm, Rick Danko. Just an amazing band, The Band. It's such a good band, they just called themselves The Band. But, of course, The Last Waltz was on Thanksgiving back in 76, I think it was. It was their final show as a band. They had tons of guest stars. A Thanksgiving staple for many years. I've seen that movie so many times, listened to the album so many times. The band is just truly phenomenal. Yes, I love my heavy metal, but I love my classic rock, 60s, 70s, stuff like that, and The Band is right up there at the top of the list. Just an amazing, amazing band. If you've never heard The Last Waltz, what are you waiting for? See Ronnie Hawkins come on the stage? Oh man, sign me up. But The Last Waltz, a Thanksgiving staple, album of the week this week. So there it is. What do you guys think? Any thoughts on the toy news this week? Anything you're really excited for? What are the best deals you've gotten so far on the Black Friday? We got Cyber Monday around the corner. So many deals to be had. What are you playing the long game for? What are you hoping to pick up over the next month or so? What are you hoping to get for Christmas? Let me know in the comments down below, and then let me know anything you want to talk about on some of the toy news that happened this week. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Turn on the old notification bell. Don't forget about the Patreon. Of course, you guys know the monthly giveaway, the Q&As, the bonus content, early access videos, all that kind of fun stuff. And best of all, you do support the channel. You can also support the channel at ProWrestlingTees.com. Got to get a deal. Now's the time. If you're not buying my shirt, buy somebody's shirt. 20% off. Got to get a deal all day long. And then don't forget about social media. SirPaul64 over there on Twitter, Instagram, _Kyle_Peterson. And there's that new Hive thing. I have signed up for Hive. I haven't used it at all, but Kyle Peterson. Just search Kyle Peterson on Hive. You'll find me on there. They're saying Twitter might go away. I don't think it will. But Hive is where a lot of people are going. So I did just create an account so somebody else wouldn't. But it is over there if you want to follow along. Like I said, nothing over there yet. But we'll see what ends up happening over there. So there's all the toy news of the week. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. And you know what I'm doing? I'm rocking and rolling. Strutting and strolling my way into the weekend. I'll see you guys all real soon.